Health Diary, brought to you by Brookside Dairy Plus. Live Life Plus with Brookside.
Well, hello there. It's good to see you right here on Health Diary, trusting that you're having yourselves an amazing Sunday. Welcome to the show. My name is Winnie Lubembe, and today we'll be tackling all the women because we'll be focusing on probiotics for women and getting to understand, first of all, why is it important for you to think about what you are consuming and not just in terms of supplementation, but also on a day-to-day basis and how that influences our general well-being, and probiotics being one of them. And what are some of the sources of probiotics, you ask? Well, we'll find out after those facts of the matter.
Probiotics are live bacteria and yeasts that have beneficial effects on the body. Every human body is home to trillions of microorganisms that live with us and help support our bodily functions and health. Probiotics are beneficial in various aspects of women's health, particularly lactobacillus species, contribute to vaginal health by promoting a balanced vaginal microbiome to prevent infections and maintain an acidic environment.
Right, well, let's get to understand more on probiotics and specifically for women. And we'd want to understand, first of all, is that even a thing? Is there such thing as probiotics for women? And why is it important? When we mention probiotics, we think about women. We'll be focusing on that conversation in just a second. And to help us, we have Joyce Awor, who is a consultant dietitian nutritionist. Let me tell you, the names, you will kill me with the titles. But it's so good to have you after many years. Okay, not many years, many months. Yes.
Yeah.
Many years.
Good to be back.
It's good to have you, Joyce. But before we focus on the conversation, just to bring you up to speed, that Brookside has a range that is specifically meant for you and your entire family. And today we'll be focusing on Brookside Probiotic Plus, let me tell you, okay? And they have a range of different yogurts. So this is like strawberry flavor, but they also have natural as well as vanilla. And this is, like I said, Brookside Plus probiotic yogurt, which improves digestion and well-being. It is actually a fresh yogurt, and it contains no preservatives, and it should be refrigerated, okay? And at the same time, it consists, like I said, of real fruit and natural yogurts available in all retail outlets. And at the same time, it has no added sugar. It's available in 250 ml as well as 450 ml. I'm pretty sure for those of you, especially those ones who consume the vanilla yogurt, okay? And you see some dark things and you're thinking, no, those are the real vanilla pods, okay? But really, Joyce, let's start with probiotics. I know we mentioned it in another episode and went deeper into understanding probiotics, what they are and why they're good for our system, our gut health. But probiotics for women, is that a thing?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends on what exactly we're looking at, because once we go deep to the topic where we talk about how probiotics come in women health, then now we'll talk about how it veers off from general to just women.
Just for women. Okay.
But we can't talk about probiotics without mentioning prebiotics, yeah, because they go hand in hand. So probiotics are the healthy bacteria, the good bacteria, because in the gut that is from your mouth all the way to your gut and to your stomach, large, small intestines, to the rectum, all the way to your anus. All that we call it the gut system. So all that is lined with microbes. So we call it the gut microbiome. Yeah. So basically an environment where microbes thrive, whether good, bad, parasite, fungi, bacteria, all that is within the gut. So you have the good and the bad bacteria. So when you talk about probiotics, you're talking about the good bacteria. And you talk about prebiotics is now the nutrients for the good bacteria.
Oh, wait. Prebiotics are nutrients for
Probiotics. Exactly.
Hey, okay, we're learning.
Yeah. So for probiotics to grow and thrive, there has to be prebiotics. So pre and pro work together. So probiotics basically means good from the word pro, and biotics is the life. So good life. So from probiotics.
All right.
Exactly.
Okay. So like you said, it depends. You know, when you mention women and women health, again, right? It depends. So what is that depends?
Okay. So mostly for women, are looking at vaginal health or urinary health. And in the there's something you call gut and vaginal microbiome, where they work together. So if you look at the vaginal, we have also microbiome inside where we have bacteria like candidiasis. Yeah, so overgrowth of candidiasis now brings things like bacterial vaginosis.
Okay.
So that is a condition that you need to manage. But before managing, you need to prevent. And to prevent that, you need to prevent the overgrowth of the bacteria. And preventing of that overgrowth is now you taking probiotics. So to make sure there's a good number of probiotics to actually squeeze out the unhealthy bacteria, the candidiasis, now you take more prebiotics to add on the number of probiotics
Where?
in the vagina. Yes.
I see that. And we hear this. A lot of women talk about, oh, you need to take yogurt. You need to take yogurt on a daily basis. You need to take yogurt in a specific, period. Like, there's a whole lot of conversation, but at the same time, there's a lot of misinformation, right?
Exactly.
Can we just tackle, first of all, the problem?
So we've talked about vaginal, and in regards to urinary
yes.
problems,
Yeah.
now we have a bacteria called E. coli. So E. coli attaches to the walls of the urinary system, and the overgrowth of that brings about the UTIs.
Okay.
So overgrowth or reoccurrence of UTI mean you have overgrowth of E. coli, and now giving more probiotics squeezes out the overgrowth of the E. coli. So probiotics and urinary system. So then there's probiotics and the gut health. So we've said that the gut is mostly lined with the various numbers of bacteria. So we call it the gut microbiome. So then if you're taking in unhealthy food, we'll get to the sources of unhealthy food. If you're taking in unhealthy food, then you inflame your gut. So by inflaming your gut, now again, there's overgrowth. of the unhealthy bacteria.
Yes. Yeah.
So the gut affects also your mental being, because in the gut I don't want to say produce, but let me use produce.
Yeah.
Yeah, neurotransmitters and vagus nerve, which communicates with the brain. So the gut-brain axis communicates using the vagus nerve and the neurotransmitters. So for that to be very effective, and in terms of mental health and probiotics, so you have to feed your brain. By feeding your brain, you have to give good nutrients.
Yes.
And I'm talking about neurotransmitters and vagus nerve. So that is what transmits to your brain. So if you have people who are mostly having sugar cravings, meaning they have overgrowth of the bad bacteria, because the bad bacteria feeds on sugar. So they communicate to your brain such that you want more sugar, hence you crave more.
Yeah.
So that means you have bad overgrowth of the bad
Overgrowth of the
bacteria.
bad bacteria.
But if you're not craving, then now there's a balance. Okay. So speaking of balance, we go into the hormonal issues, right?
It's just, yeah.
Yeah. So the hormonal issues, we have PCOS right there. So PCOS, PCOS is mostly an endocrine condition. Endocrine meaning your insulin has an imbalance, okay? So insulin also gives us some hormones that regulate your insulin, okay? Regulate, or rather your sugar in your blood. So if you don't have a good gut system, there's an overgrowth, there's overproduction of insulin, perhaps. So then there's restructuring of your gut, meaning there's so much deposits of fat. So if you take in probiotics now, it metabolizes the fat.
Okay.
Yeah. It also helps in passing the stool. So once there's that, there's stool, or what we call gut motility, movement of the stool. So PCOS symptoms reduce.
Okay.
So the inflammation, the feeling of maybe the heat, whatnot. So all that symptoms reduce with probiotic.
You see, most of the time, we just think, well, gut health. I mean, how bad can it be?
Yeah.
But then again, now to mention, also interferes with, our hormones and our mental health, as well as, reproductive health. So it's not something that we can just sit and say, I mean, how bad can it get?
It can get worse, because let's talk about postpartum depression.
Yes.
That is now the uko mwisho kabisa.
Yeah.
And that also comes about with gut-brain axis. The connection you talked about, gut and your brain.
Yeah.
So anyone having postpartum depression, it's mostly the gut issues.
Yeah.
Having PCOS, it's the gut. Any hormonal imbalance, post-menopausal, it's a gut.
And also, as ladies there, bloating, the moods, and all these things.
Yes.
So the gut.
The gut.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about you take a break? Because that's a lot. That's a lot to just digest, literally. See what I did there?
Yes. I see.
And then when we come back now, we'd want to understand, so then how do we manage? What are the alternatives? Because you also talked about sources of unhealthy foods, which again, we'll address on the second part of the conversation. And now get to understand, so then how do we promote good gut health so that we avoid all this, illnesses, conditions, diseases that are brought about by poor gut health. Yeah. But all that is coming up after the break. But just to let you up to speed with Brookside. What is this? Brookside Probiotic Plus. Let me tell you, it's a lot of P's and B's there.
It's a mouthful.
Help. And since we're talking about probiotics for women, just to bring you up to speed with the fact that Brookside Plus, that is probiotic yogurt, is available in 3 different flavors. So there's the strawberry, which I'm holding. There is the vanilla and natural yogurt. And it's good, for your gut. It says here, it improves digestion and well-being. It's available in 250 ml as well as 450 ml. And it's available in all leading supermarkets. Okay, so get yourself one and maybe see if it will improve your gut health, which is equally as important. We're taking a short break. See you right after, right here on Health Diary.
Health Diary, brought to you by Brookside Dairy Plus. Live Life Plus with Brookside.
Welcome to the show. We're talking about probiotics for women today on Health Diary. And Joyce Award, who's a consultant dietitian nutritionist, is here to give us all the information. Let me tell you, if you were here in the first part of the conversation, I'm pretty sure your brain is like, doing the most right now. And it's because of all the information that we had. It's important for us to understand how important our gut health is, because it connects to our brain and the hormones. It's a lot of things being a woman, okay? We're getting all that information. And the show has been sponsored by Brookside. And since we're talking about probiotics, just to bring you up to speed with the fact that Brookside, they have probiotic yogurt, and this is like Brookside Plus, which is very good, for you to improve digestion as well as general well-being. And it's available in 3 flavors. We have the strawberry, the one that I'm holding now. They also have vanilla as well as natural yogurt, and it's available in all leading supermarkets. Wherever you get your products, your groceries from, you will get Brookside Plus. And it's available in 250 ml as well as 450 ml. And it's actually fresh yogurt, and it should be refrigerated. Okay, do not freeze it. It should be refrigerated. And of course, it's very, very convenient. Like I said, 250 ml as well as 450 ml. So, Joyce, so understanding how important our gut health is, because again, it connects to all these other different parts of our bodies. And you talked about unhealthy foods, which I'm pretty sure almost all of us are culprits. Sometimes we do it knowingly, sometimes cheat days, like those days, where you just feel like, and the cravings as well.
Yeah.
And it's just a whole lot of things. So can we then understand the sources of unhealthy foods, what, you qualify or you call unhealthy foods, and then now talk about how then do we change that into better alternatives that are not just good for our gut health, but overall well-being.
Okay, great. So, our sole purpose as nutritionists is to guide people about diet options, right? And that comes out from lifestyle. So you can get somebody that says, I inherited maybe diabetes, I inherited, but you can't inherit bad behavior. You can't inherit a heartburn. You inherit the lifestyles, right? Because you saw your mom eating whatever, you saw your dad eating whatever, so you eat like them, right?
And people say, kwetu tunakuanga hivi.
So now you need to check, what does it lead to condition your lifestyle behaviors? What are you picking off the shelf, right? So if you're picking things that are, let me call them, that have inflammatory properties, therefore they will inflame your gut. So things like fast foods. So fast foods, let me not name the brands, right?
Yeah.
Fast foods, we have ultra-processed foods. So fast foods, we're talking about anything that is deep fried, right?
Okay.
So for deep frying, you wait for the oil to be extra hot, then you dip in whatever food, whether it's chicken, it's beef, it's pastry, whatever it is. Dipping into that overheated oil is our issue. So if you just cook, kick out the overheating of the oil and maybe grill, bake, and do whatever, that is not healthy, right? Then now the ultra-processed foods, where we have our white foods, things that have been processed to remove the whole grain, right? So you have your white rice, your white bread, your white ugali, your white pasta, your white whatever. all that is inflaming your gut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you can do away with those, now what are the alternatives?
Okay.
Sasa?
So the alternatives would be the opposites. So you know, I'll say, one, you want to feed your good, your healthy bacteria. So you want to feed your probiotics by taking in prebiotics. So sources of prebiotics would be your whole grains. Let's start from that. And then your plant proteins. No, so what I tell my clients is make sure you're eating 21 plant products in a week. 21 plant products in a week. So that cuts across nuts, seeds, fruits, and vegetables. So what I'm trying to get is have a variety.
Okay.
So have your berries here, have your grapes there, have your nuts, have your seeds. And then, you know, nuts have a whole variety of nuts there in between. You have macadamia nuts, you have pistachios, you have groundnuts, you have whatever the nuts. Then when you come to seeds, again, there's a variety. Flax seeds, fenugreek, sesame seeds. There's also, so basically having 21 types of plant foods in a week brings in the variety. If you think about it, there's vegetables, and then there's a whole variety of veggies. There's fruits, whole variety of fruits. Legumes, whole variety of legumes. Nuts, and then seeds. So those are 5. So 5 groups. Within the 5, just take 10, 10, 10, 10, or even 5, 5, 5, and you get into
You're good to
21.
go. Yeah.
Yes.
And specifically for women, why is it important to consider that? Now that we're focusing on the women.
Yes. So, you
today.
know, for women, we need hormonal balance. One, you need hormonal balance. You need a good vaginal health. So for you to even carry the baby, let's say from there. You have fertility issues, infertility issues.
Yeah.
So you need to heal your gut, and then you can heal the fertility issues, right? Then carry the baby to term, okay? Carrying the baby to term, and within the pregnancy period, also feed the baby to feed their guts.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, babies who have been born through CS lack the gut, let me call them the good bacteria. Yeah, because if you're born through the vaginal, there's a scientific word for it, but vaginal process, it's a healthier way in terms of passing through the probiotics. So hormonal, we're talking about the PCOS issues, we're talking about menopause, the pre, post, during.
And even our menstrual
system as
well.
Oof. So the cramping, the mood. Remember we talked about gut-brain axis?
Yes.
So if in the gut we primarily make, for lack of a better word, make the good or the feel-good hormones. Yeah, so we normally make that, and once it goes to the brain, you feel good. So with a gut that is not working well, so then your mood is down. Then the PMS.
Okay.
Right? So it works a lot with women, other than if you think about the other gender.
I see that. And also, you talked about this, where there's some people, with the recurrence of the UTIs and, all those conditions. And then there's a lot of, take yogurt. No, don't take yogurt. Yogurt actually does not, there's a lot of this and this, information. So when we talk about probiotic, and now that we have, Probiotic Plus, Brookside Plus, probiotic yogurt. So at what point do you take, say, yogurt? Have you seen some people who insert yogurt, right? And it's like, what is happening?
Science that backs that. No science backs that behavior.
Yeah, so do you want to address this, myths and then...
So there's so many myths around probiotics and women health, for that matter. But the main one is probiotics and vaginal health, right? So we talked about the candidiasis and overgrowth and probiotics that help that. So generally, if you take lots of probiotics, so maybe let's talk about sources of probiotics. Yes. Apart from the yogurt is the main source of probiotics. Yeah. Then we have the fermented foods. So you want fermented food. So from yogurt to malas to fermented cheeses. Okay. So away from that, then we have supplementation. Okay. So supplementation in terms of strain specific. So that depends on what condition you're presenting with. Okay. So whether you have PCOS, whether you have hormonal issues.
So is it okay to then take yogurt every single day? Is there such thing as an you're overfeeding the probiotics?
No, there's never an overfeed of probiotics. So what we try and say is have a variety. Okay. So yes, we say 1 serving of yogurt every day. And a serving is a cup, and a cup should be 250 ml. Okay. You're eating so often. So you normally say have a serving of a probiotic. So can cut across either yogurt, fermented milk, which is mala, can be either the sauerkraut and the whatever, but you say at least a serving per day, but that is just providing you with the probiotics. So once you have the probiotics, are you feeding the probiotics to increase the number of probiotics? Then have now your prebiotics as well. So back to my 21 in a week. Yeah, so you're feeding your prebiotics, you're feeding your probiotics, and then that now increases the number of probiotics in your gut.
The system. Like now, a lot of people would take, say for example, they say for breakfast, like have a proper breakfast. Yeah. Because again, that will take you throughout the day. But there's some people who are like, yeah, I'll just have a yogurt and then that's it. Okay. So we focus on the prebiotic that feeds on the probiotic. Okay, you know what I'm saying? And then that's it. So we don't eat anything else. Is that safe? Is that okay?
Remember, not eating is also affecting your gut.
True.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
So if you don't eat, it slows your metabolism. If you slow your metabolism, you're affecting your gut.
Yes.
So you have to eat. Yeah. So then it comes down to what are you eating. Hence, you see a nutritionist, then we guide you from your diet choices. Yeah. So if you have your breakfast and you want to have a yogurt, then feed in the yogurt things, right? So within the yogurt, you can do your prebiotics inside, where you're putting your nuts inside. You're putting your herbs inside. You're putting your fruits as well inside, yeah?
Again, when you talk about our health and especially down there,
yeah,
we want to make sure that it's like, yes, it's clean, you know, the environment is good.
Yeah.
So people would do weird things.
Crazy stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to just point them to the right direction, you know, because some people would insert things in there. Yeah. We've heard about garlic, yogurt, to, you know, inserting in there. What problem can it cause, and how do we do it the right way?
So I get their point of garlic, because garlic is one of our main sources for prebiotics. But, you know, inserting does not make it absorb the nutrients, because you want to ingest them. So once they're ingested, they get into the stomach where there's acidity. This acidity breaks down the foods where it's now absorbable into the blood, right? But if you insert, there's nothing breaking it down. Yeah. If anything, you're harming your flora in the vagina, right? Yeah. But the other myth would be that all probiotics are the same, you know. Probiotics depends on the strain. As I said, there are up to 40 billion strains of bacteria. Yeah. Be it the lactobacillus, bifidobacteria. There's so much bacteria, yeah? So depending on what you present with, we prescribe you differently. People with PCOS, people with vaginitis, or the occurrence of candidiasis and stuff like that. Yeast infections. Yeah. We'll prescribe for them various probiotics depending on what they presented. So various means a strain that I'll give somebody with PCOS, I won't give the same with somebody with candidiasis, not the same with somebody with recurrent UTIs. So it differs. It differs.
I like that. So what is it that you'd want a woman to get out of this conversation with today?
So the main thing is be mindful of what you're eating. Mindful eating. So from mindful eating, you're able to know, what am I taking? And am I taking most of the fast foods? Am I taking most of the ultra heated or ultra processed foods? So once you take that, then now be mindful of your health. Am I having recurrent candidiasis? Am I having recurrent UTIs? Then from your condition, have you seen a dietitian? Have you seen a nutritionist? Have you been guided in terms of diet choices? Do you know what to pick off the shelf and why you pick one over the other, right? And then read labels, because once you read a label, you know this has the probiotics, this has the prebiotics, or does it have both? Because there's symbiotics.
I like that. I really, really like that. Being mindful. Yes. I really like that. Thank you so much, Joyce. Joyce Award, who's a consultant, dietitian, nutritionist, giving us all the info today. I'm pretty sure your mind was like, because there's a lot of things that we thought were like, nah, you know, but, you know, end up causing more problems, you know, to us. And now you know what to do better, okay? And also, you can optimize the levels of beneficial bacteria by consuming foods, like she said, that are rich in probiotics. And one good source of probiotics is the Brookside Plus, okay? That we talked about, yogurt, right over here. Available in 3 different flavors, the strawberry, they have vanilla as well as natural yogurt, and it's available in 250 ml as well as 450 ml, available at all retail stores, okay? So now you know better. Time now for you to take a look at this health tip.
Basically, when we are talking about healthy eating, our focus, we have 3 key nutrients, that is carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. When it comes to carbohydrates, we emphasize about quality carbohydrates. And when we talk about quality carbohydrates, it's where you teach about wholesome foods, whole grain foods as much as possible, than over the processed food. The difference between, let's say, our mixed githeri, beans and maize, and there's a difference between rice. Rice is more processed over githeri. So we say, yes, rice is there, you can eat, but let us go slow on those processed food.
Well, that marks the end of our show today right here on Health Diary. As far as probiotics, especially for women, is concerned, and now you know better. And for the women, now we understand how our gut health can influence our mental health as well as our reproductive health and, you know, all these other aspects of our lives. So take care of yourself and take care of your gut health for better well-being. But if you have any other question or social media handles are down at the bottom of your screen. My name is Winnie Lubembe. Thanks for watching. See you next week on Sunday. Adios. Kosawa? All right. Adios. Amigo.
Health Diary was brought to you by Brookside Dairy Plus. Live Life Plus with Brookside.
Brookside Plus Probiotic Yogurt provides you the goodness of good bacteria for a healthy gut and a good immune system.